Welcome to one more game presented by Hoosier Pickleball. I'm your host, Matt Brandenberger, alongside my pigtailed princess. I don't know. I just came up with that. You got cute little pigtails in tonight. So welcome. And then my bearded brother. How about that? I'm going to go with the alliteration. This is Kacey, for those of you that are watching on YouTube. Kacey.
You remember how to say his last name?
I don't.
I do. Ayotte.
Do it. Nail it.
Ayotte. Kacey Ayotte.
Yeah.
Very good. And you want to give some details on Kacey?
Oh.
Or should we let Kacey do that?
Kacey can do that.
So first of all, welcome, Kacey. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here.
Yeah, it is. It is. Yeah, it's awesome to have you on. And so, Kacey, tell us where you're from. Tell us wife, kids, family, job. Kind of give us a quick overview of who you are, and then we'll kind of get into why we're having you on the podcast in a little bit.
Okay, yeah. I'm Kacey Ayotte from Brigham City, Utah, and I have a wife. We'll be married 15 years in December, and a 10-year-old and a 7-year-old boy. And I just quit my job in the diaper factory. I was making baby diapers locally here in a factory for P&G. And I quit that to go into solar because power bills are going up and solar is relevant. So we're going to try it.
So quick plug for your new company, right? So if you're looking to go solar, give Kacey a call.
Yeah.
He'll hook you up because you're traveling all over the country for that, aren't you?
Yeah, as a matter of fact, I'm traveling all over the country to go to places where their power bills are actually cheaper than what I am paying here in Brigham City.
Wow.
We had a deficit last year, apparently, and so the power company is trying to make up for it this year. And so I'm actually trying to find business around here to help people save money on power locally. So
awesome. So from diapers to solar power, you've done it all recently.
I've actually had 30 different jobs in my life.
You literally.
I've never been fired. I've always quit or found something better.
Right. Yeah. Well, good. Well, we're so excited to have you on. So here's how Kacey and I met. It was actually in December of 2021 at Nationals out in Indian Wells, California. And we, my partner and I in men's, played against Kacey. And remind me your partner's name. I'm sorry, I forget. I feel bad.
Josh Perry.
Josh Perry. And we matched up against you guys in the regular draw, and you beat us soundly. And then we fought our way back up through the back draw and played you guys for gold and had an incredible match. It was a battle of attrition by that point, and we found our groove. You guys kind of, I think, ran out of juice. I don't know what you'd say.
You must have eaten lunch. You guys had to have had a meal during the day.
Yeah, you know what, Kacey, I do not actually eat much during tournaments. I get very anxious, and I probably only had a couple granola bars, maybe a fruit bar. I try to drink a ton of water, but I mean, that I don't remember when we started, but that was a long day. I mean, we finished after dark because it was under the lights. But yeah, do you remember feeling pretty sluggish by the end of it?
Yeah, and I had recently discovered pre-workout before that.
Okay.
Have you ever taken pre-workout? Man, that was I think I took 3 or 4 doses during the Nationals. So I'm lucky I didn't have a heart attack. but there was nothing left. I could barely hit the ball over the net. Me and Josh just looking at each other like they got us.
Yeah. So we ended up winning the best of 3 and then went to the game of 15. And by that point, I felt like our third shot drops were just on, and we were kind of playing really confidently. So we did beat you guys, but I mean, my favorite memories from that was just the connection that I felt like we had with you and Josh, my partner Jeff, and I. And I loved, obviously, it was fun to win, but beyond that, it's what I love about pickleball is that brotherhood and that connection that you have. And I'll even tell you, just recently played in the APP, and I had a very similar, I thought of you actually a couple different times. Yeah, because we were on the other side of it. So my partner and I ended up losing to a couple guys. They were not from Utah, they were from Oregon, but really a couple nice guys where we kind of connected with their family that was out watching them, similar to your wives were out watching you guys. And so they obviously their family wanted them to win, but you could tell they liked us, and it was just kind of this mutual respect that we had. So we didn't come out on top of that one, but I still had those same feelings of I
remember, my memory is when Matt came home, because I didn't come, is that he said if you guys would have won, he would have been just as excited because he really liked you.
Yeah.
So. Yeah, we felt the same way. We were sad that we didn't win gold, but we were happy for you guys, and we knew you earned it. It was fair. You beat us in the best of 3, and then you got to beat us at 15. We just didn't have it in us.
Yeah.
We were so excited. I remember hugging at the net.
I still have that video. Watched it recently even. So that was just all the emotions of winning, but then also just fighting a good battle like that. Obviously it's pickleball. It's on a smaller stage, but you can kind of see the similarities of, I always think I'm not a huge hockey fan, but I always love at the end of a hard fought series, those guys who've been just kicking the crap out of each other, for 7 games will line up and shake hands. And, it's, again, that's kind of that brotherhood. So anyways, I felt like we had a connection. We've even talked, anytime you're out in this area in Indiana, or we come out to Utah, we'd love to get together. Have kind of kept in touch, and through Facebook we've learned about your struggles with substance abuse. And so the title of this episode is again, how pickleball saved my life. And talking to you about that, we've had some other guests recently where we've had a similar topic, but about different things that have helped them or that they've been saved from. So really excited to learn more and kind of get into your story. So I guess kind of take it away. Do we want to first take a commercial break? That kind of sets it all up. We'll take a quick commercial break, and then we'll kind of come back and we'll unpack your story. So we'll be right back right after these messages.
Parents, your teen driver or soon-to-be driver looks to you for guidance on safe driving techniques.
Drive Alive is an organization dedicated to young driver safety. Visit our website at drivealiveindiana.org to view videos designed to facilitate conversations between parents and their teen drivers.
Topics include getting to know your vehicle, understanding car insurance, simple car maintenance, and what to do if you just had an accident.
Visit drivealiveindiana.org to learn more.
All right, welcome back to one more game presented by Hoosier Pickleball. We are here with Kacey Ayotte. Did I say it right?
Yeah.
We were on a podcast recently and they butchered our name 4 straight times. Kept calling us Bradenberger. But anyways,
oh no.
So now I feel like I better get it right, because we were laughing pretty hard about that. He was super nice about it. I shouldn't give him a hard time. He's probably watching this and sad. But we talked a little bit before the break about Kacey kind of sharing on Facebook. He's been very upfront with substance abuse issues that he's had, and we wanted to kind of unpack that. So kind of maybe take us right to the beginning, Kacey. How old were you when you first started using, and kind of take us through a brief history of how it all started?
Yeah, well, I know I was 14 when we made a pact, my friends and I, before we were 14, that we were not going to drink. There was 3 of us, and we all lived right by each other, and we went to the same church and the same school, and we made a pact that we wouldn't do any of that kind of stuff. And next thing I know, they were drinking, and they were telling me how fun it was, and so they invited me over, and I tried it, and it was so much fun. I agreed with them. And then right after that, I started smoking pot, and by the time I was 16, I had discovered meth, and I didn't go to meth on my own. It was my uncle came to stay with us as my dad's next youngest brother. My dad's the oldest. My uncle Dwayne, he's no longer with us, who died when he was 39 from this kind of stuff.
I'm sorry.
But he was staying in a trailer in our yard, and he found out that I had been smoking pot, and that was his invitation in, because that's all he lived for, basically, was drugs. Every day was plotting out how to go to the doctor and get more pain pills, or just constantly, that was his life. And so he taught me how to smoke crystal meth, and then he was getting Oxycontin from his doctor, and this was shortly after Oxycontin and Purdue Pharma and all that got
Mhm.
real big real fast.
Yeah.
And so it was right in the middle of all that, and meth and opiates. But he got Oxycontins, and he taught me how to put those in a spoon and shoot them up with a syringe, and it was the worst it could get. I mean, as bad as it gets and scary as it gets. Pretty young, pretty early.
What age was that you said you started when you were 14? Were you shooting up crystal meth when you were 16, 17?
Yeah, 16, 17. Yeah, I was 16 the first time for sure.
Yeah.
That does seem like a big jump from weed to meth. I feel like you skip some steps.
Yeah, for sure. My uncle was excited to teach me. He was already well versed. He was already way into it, and I don't know, honestly, I don't think he had bad intentions. I don't think he knew, or I mean, I know he knew better, but I don't think he intended to destroy my life.
Yeah.
I don't think he considered his own life destroyed.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I'm saying?
Well,
so I don't hate him for it.
Yeah. I mean, it's fair to say that he wasn't thinking clearly.
Right.
Yeah, true. Yeah. Well, and according to my dad, he was smoking marijuana in kindergarten or first grade.
Wow.
He's younger than my dad, and he was smoking weed with a kid that was older than my dad back in elementary school.
That's incredible.
So he's kind of always the black sheep.
So what are your feelings with, in the last few years, I would say marijuana has become more and more acceptable, being legalized in places all over the country. What are your feelings about that?
Well, here in Utah, it was made legal for medical purposes, and it's not like mental health, it's pain. And so if we're talking about taking it for pain, that is leaps and bounds better than opiates in every way. You know what I mean? Like, I really support medical marijuana. Recreational marijuana is iffy. It's a gateway drug for sure.
Yeah.
So if you're young and you're not really decided on what you want to do with your life, it could be a gateway drug that leads to other bad choices for sure. So it's definitely for adults.
Yeah. And in your experience, it really was the gateway drug that led you to pretty serious substance abuse issues. Go ahead.
In many of my recoveries, I tried to get sober many times, right? Mm-hmm. And if I had any success, months or weeks or whatever, if I ever let my guard down and said it was okay to smoke marijuana during this fragile time, suddenly my guard would be let down. I'd be more lazy, and my recovery would fail.
Interesting.
So it's even a gateway drug to someone who's already done all the drugs.
Yeah.
In my opinion, but it can also be helpful. I think you can manage marijuana and only do marijuana and not do all the other crazy drugs.
Yeah.
It's possible. I know people that have only smoked pot their whole life. They've never done anything else. And so I know it's possible. But
you would say that's a little dangerous. You're playing with fire maybe a little bit unless you really know yourself well to know your tendencies, or if you have that addictive personality.
Yeah. I mean, you can have morals, and so if you go in, if you've never smoked pot before and you're gonna try it, and you know you have morals and you're not gonna do other drugs, I think you could do that safely as an adult.
Yeah.
So I was just gonna say, is there anything, like, did you feel like during this time, in your teens, was there something you were searching for, like some need you were trying to fill and you were filling it with these things, or it was just?
I found out when I was 26 that I like ADHD, and then when I was 19, I went to a psychiatrist and told him a bunch of stuff, and he said I was bipolar. Later on, I decided that was just me in the middle of my early recovery, and he just went off what I said. I just told him a bunch of stuff, and he's like, okay, you're bipolar. And so there have been concerns that there were mental issues. ADHD is pretty common. But I do remember when I was 9 years old, me and my mom had a fight, and I went running down the stairs, and at the bottom of the stairs, I threw myself on the floor. I just went limp, and I said, "Why am I such an F up?" And I've never even said the F word before. And so I don't know where that came from. But that kind of thinking, like dark, like negative thoughts were there a lot. And so there's a lot of pain. I was running from pain or discomfort, confusion, just trying to figure myself out. I also think I'm sensitive, like empathetic. And so I don't know if I became more sensitive because there's a theory for people who do drugs in their teen years that you stop maturing mentally or emotionally. And so there's a theory that maybe I froze my maturity level in my teens. And so now I'm 37, I'm kind of like an 18-year-old because I never was matured, right? So that's a theory. Another theory is that I was sensitive first, and that's why I do drugs. I don't know.
Yeah, that's hard to, what came first, chicken or the egg?
Right. Yeah.
So, I think there are people in life who just have somewhat of an addictive personality, and Matt can recognize that in himself.
For sure.
He can pinpoint multiple addictions in his life that were more like FIFA soccer, basketball. So he has channeled that, but he has that component.
I'm just such a rule follower, like that. My addictions manifest themselves in, like, seriously, like in weird stuff, like video games and sports and but if I start playing something or do something, I'm like all in 1,000%.
Yeah. So do you have do you think you have a little bit of that too? Like when you get into something, you're in it. Yeah.
Well, and it's often associated with addictive personality, black and white thinking. If I'm going to do something, I'm going to do it all the way. I'm not just going to halfway do it, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, for sure. I've been that way with a lot of anything I enjoy, anything I like, sugar. Oh yeah, ice cream.
I can attest to both of those as well. So French fries. Yeah. So you started at 14. Started at 14 using substances, and then by 17 you said you were doing some pretty hardcore stuff. Where was that period of time where you would say you were at your lowest or your darkest, and was there ever a period of time that you thought that this was going to take your life?
Yeah, many times I thought I was going to die. I didn't think I would ever live without substances. I would imagine sobriety. I would imagine myself without that outlet, and I just didn't think it was physically possible. I got so physically addicted that I didn't think I could survive. My brain could survive the removal of the opiates. It was crazy, really scary. But I didn't get to the darkest part until I was like 31, and my wife and I were separated, and I was basically homeless, and I would spend my whole paycheck. I got paid every week, and I'd spend my whole paycheck. I'd take the bus down to Ogden and spend everything I could on heroin, because by the time I was on heroin, I was real bad, right? Heroin, we haven't talked about the half-life yet, but Oxycontin has a longer half-life, and then I was on methadone for 9 years after I got married, and that has a 24-hour half-life. And then so switching to heroin, it only has like a 4 or 8 hour half-life. It's way different. Like way more often you're getting high, and then you're not high, and you're sad, and you're going through withdrawals, and then you're getting high again. And so it's way more up and down, like a roller coaster with heroin. So but right before I went to rehab was when it got really dark, and I was actually trying to overdose intentionally, but I wanted it to look like an accident. Like I didn't want anybody to know that I was killing myself, but I was trying to take enough to just be done.
Just kept on pushing the limit a little bit more.
I mean, you just had to feel like, did you feel just like you were trapped?
Trapped.
Yeah.
For example, when I was trying to do that, when I was trying to overdose, I would inject a shot and then try and hurry and load another one. But before I could get another shot ready, I was falling asleep.
Mm.
And so that's what saved my life, was the fact that I was close enough to overdose to fall asleep so that I couldn't function.
Wow.
And so my mom was waiting in the parking lot that day one of the days I was trying to do this, and she was waiting for me to pick me up to take me to her house in Salt Lake to hang out for the weekend. And it was like 2 hours later, I went out to her car and explained, sorry, I was just trying to kill myself and make it look like an accident. Like, I straight up confessed and told her the bold, oh my goodness, I can't believe I told her that. I don't know why. I was obviously looking for a reaction, crying out for help.
As a cry out.
She got all my siblings involved, and they ended up doing what they had to do to convince me. And honestly, my last argument was, okay, I will go to rehab just to prove to you that it won't work. That's what I said. I said, I'll prove to you guys this isn't going to work.
So was that really the beginning of your journey to getting clean then? Was kind of that?
Yeah.
That was the moment. So from 17 to 31 then, was your journey kind of up and down? Were there periods where you were kind of almost trying to get yourself out of it, or was it a consistent, like, hardcore substance abuse for 14 years? That's hard to imagine.
Yeah, it wasn't constantly pedal to the metal addiction, but it was constantly trying to manage my addiction. So I was either freshly clean and about to relapse, or I was right in the middle of a big long relapse. So yeah, I was trying to find recovery from a teenager. Yeah. I knew when I did meth, when I stayed up all night, I stayed up 2 weeks in a row, I knew that was bad for me, and I didn't want to keep doing it.
Yeah.
So is maybe now you can explain some of the insurance stuff. Is this a good spot for? Yeah,
that's right. When I was a teenager and my parents found out about the meth and all the horrible things that were going on, because they thought I was just smoking pot. They hired an expert to come interview me about marijuana, and they said, do you smoke marijuana by yourself? Do you use it to medicate? Blah blah blah. Basically proved that I was a full-on marijuana addict at the age of 17. And so he said he's a lost cause. He's not going to quit. And so they kicked me out, and I moved in with my friend and was free to do whatever I wanted at that point. And so I went on a terror for like a year and a half, 2 years. By the time I was 19, I finally called my parents for help because I'd wrecked my car. I fell asleep and totaled my car. And at that point, we looked into going into rehab, and insurance. Both my parents had insurance, and they both worked, and neither insurance covered mental health. This would have been in 2002, 2003, something like that. Wow. Maybe 2005. So I don't know when mental health started getting covered by health insurance, but it wasn't until after 2005 for my parents' insurance anyway.
So you were wanting to get help, but I think you've told us before the reason you felt like you could never really go to rehab is because you couldn't afford it without the help of insurance, and that wasn't going to happen.
Yeah. After that, I was 19, and I didn't look into rehab until I was 31. I went 12 years assuming that it was out of reach.
Wow.
And then you discovered, so then at 31, when you went in, how did you discover that whose insurance covered it then?
Yeah, so I was separated from my wife, but I had never gotten divorce papers, and I had never gotten communication that she had canceled my insurance or anything that was even going to do that. And later on, I found out later on talking to her that she feared that I would kill myself or something worse would happen. I mean, I would die if she left me, if she made it official in that time in my life. And so she did me a favor. She didn't necessarily think it was going to work out between us. She didn't consider me her future husband, but the fact that I was still her husband, she let me stay on the insurance. So I went to the hospital and found out that, my insurance was going to pay for all but like $500. And
wow,
my family helped pitch in the other $500.
That's amazing.
And then you were there, and your insurance decided you were completely cured in how many days?
Yeah, it was constantly battling with them. My therapist and doctors had to plead my case. They had every day. They're emailing and communicating with my insurance, who has their own doctor apparently, who decides when patients are cured. And so they have to fight each other and argue and decide and gather information. And then the insurance company says, okay, we're done paying for him because he's cured. He should be cured. So I was in there for 38 or 39 days. Some people only got 20 something days, and some people got 60 days. You never knew how good their insurance was, but yeah, the insurance decided not the rehab. I went to Recovery Way, by the way. They're in Murray, Utah. Top-notch recovery. They have they cook your meals and everything, so 5-star. It's awesome.
Yeah. What's it called again?
Recovery Wave.
Okay.
In
We
Murray,
can
Utah.
link that in the show notes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, actually, Utah's got all kinds of rehab. We're pretty popular for rehabs.
Yeah. Wow.
People come from all over the country to go to rehab in Utah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So because this is a pickleball podcast, right? We want to, of course, bring it back around to pickleball. Were you still using drugs when you were introduced to pickleball, or where did pickleball fit into this?
I mean, I had played a game of pickleball before I got into recovery, but I didn't. 4 years ago is when I started playing pickleball every day.
Okay.
And that me and my wife just went down. We had some wooden paddles, and we went down and played a little bit, and we enjoyed it. So then we upgraded to some $40 Selkirk paddles that we could get back then.
Nice.
Yeah. So once we started playing, I was in recovery already, but I did have a relapse last year. So I've been playing for 4 years, and I did have a relapse 3 years in.
But if I go back first to when you first started playing, did you try to start playing as kind of a avenue of getting into something else, or did it just happen to be something you thought, let's give pickleball a try?
Well, yeah, the people, everybody, we went down to the court. Everybody's so cool. Everybody's so nice.
Yeah.
And that's I don't get treated like that anywhere else in my life.
Yeah.
And so to go down there and be treated as a friend, and they didn't even know me. And there was TJ Morton. I'm playing with him tomorrow in a tournament. His wife was there back in the beginning 4 years ago, and so me and my wife was playing against him and his wife. That was really cool. But there was no other circumstance where I'd be playing a game with strangers and enjoying it. Right?
Yeah.
And so this made you feel part. I mean, did this give you those feelings of love? Like you felt like you belonged, like you were part of a group?
Absolutely. Yeah, I hugged all these people, so many people that I would have never hugged if it wasn't for pickleball.
Yeah, that's funny. And did that in some ways kind of replace some of the substances that you had been using before? Is that fair to say?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, and I have had learning experiences with too much pickleball.
Yeah,
it's just like any addiction. Too much of anything can be unhealthy.
Yeah, I don't understand what you mean by that, but she does though.
Your knee hurts.
That's true.
You understand.
Yeah. No, that's great. Yeah, it's like anything, right? Moderation is key, but it's definitely a much healthier addiction, obviously, than substance abuse. So
do your pickleball friends, I mean, so you've been very open. I mean, the reason why I knew to reach out to you is because you put it on Facebook. So do your pickleball friends provide you with some accountability or support?
Yeah. So many people came up to me and they said, "Hey man, I'm sorry that I didn't say something sooner. I could tell." That happened a lot. And so now we've built more trust because I was able to confess to them my relapse, so I was able to be honest and accountable. Like you said, they're holding me accountable now that they know it's okay. Because you never know with somebody. You can't say, "Hey man, you been drinking?" Like you can't necessarily approach someone in that state of mind. But I've made it clear that I want your help. Help, and I don't want to be in that state. I don't want to be high. I don't want to be needing to be high. And so my friends are amazing. for
Yeah,
being able
and
to talk to you.
yeah, and it sounds to me, my suspicion is when you told them you relapsed, they were supportive. It sounds
Right.
like there wasn't probably any get out of here.
Yeah.
Like,
They
Right.
weren't
Not
judged.
one person. Yeah,
Right.
yeah,
that's true. Yeah.
Right.
that is, I think that is one of the biggest bonuses to pickleball
Yeah.
is
Right.
kind of the family.
Mhm. And that's
Thousands.
yeah. And that goes for anything. I think whenever we're struggling with something, whether it's substance abuse or a sin, or there's something in our lives, it's something inside us says people are going to judge me and they're going to hate me if they find out if I'm doing this. But
Right.
people that really do genuinely love you, and a pickleball community can be just that, are going to
Mhm.
absolutely do the opposite. They're going to embrace you, and they're going to, weep with you, and they're going to want to help you in your recovery. So
Absolutely. And that's what they do. That's what
Yeah.
they've done.
that's really cool. Talk a little bit about Josh, because I know your relationship with him. He's a therapist, right? And he's not
Yeah.
from the exact same area that you are. But how did
Yeah.
you first meet him? Josh was your partner for nationals, and how did he kind of help you through your recovery?
We met in a tournament. I was playing against him. And I don't remember. We must have just played. Oh, him and his girlfriend Gigi, they had a Sunday afternoon league down in Farmington that I went to a couple of times, and that's like a 45-minute ride. They live an hour and a few minutes away, a little over an hour away from me.
Yeah.
So we didn't see each other a whole lot, but we did see each other enough. And he knew my story. He knew I was in recovery, and so he wants to help people like me.
Yeah.
I know that he's got a focus on men, going within, seeking within yourself what answers you have already, and undoing childhood trauma and things that have happened to you that you might not even be aware of. And right now, lately, he just got certified in breath work therapy, and that stuff is amazing. If I don't know if you're familiar with like breathing in and breathing out, like it's pretty textbook, regular, everyday stuff. But when you do it with intention and focus, and you do it for 30 minutes straight, like it's powerful, very powerful.
Well, that is how a lot of women have babies without pain medicine.
Right.
Lamont. Yeah.
So it is
My wife had her second baby naturally,
Yeah.
by the way.
yeah, and breathing is a big part of that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you're saying us men could learn something
You could.
from you women for
You
sure.
could.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, they teach a lot of that in rehab, taking a deep breath and meditation, and your focus is on your breath. And so I had already been getting familiar with how effective that is, because when you're going through withdrawals or you're in misery like that, a deep breath is worthless. I mean, it doesn't have the effect it has when you're sober. When you're clean and you're genuinely actually going through something, you can just stop and take a deep breath, and it has an effect on you. When you're on opiates or any mind-altering substance, it's not going to have the same effect.
Yeah.
That's really interesting.
Yeah. So it sounds like you between, your work with Josh and your pickleball community, it sounds like you put a lot of good things in place to help you kind of stay in the recovery stage. How do you going forward? I mean, I've heard alcoholics talk about before, like once you're an alcoholic, you're always an alcoholic. You're just constantly fighting that battle. Do you feel that same thing, that this will be a lifelong journey for you? Is a relapse something that you fear, or is it something that you really feel like you don't have to worry about? I mean, I guess where do you kind of draw that line of fear versus knowing that you can overcome this?
I think it changes every day. I think it changes from moment to moment. So I have to be honest with myself and be realistic that the fact is it is a lifelong event that I have to be on my toes for to a certain extent. forever. But it's more like if I come across a prescription, I just can't take it. You know, it's not. It definitely changes in the moment and in the day.
Yeah.
So it depends on what I encounter. But if I have all the necessary precautions in place and I've communicated with everyone around me, it should be pretty easy,
Yeah.
right?
Mhm.
But there was this last relapse was a close friend of mine. Kept coming around asking for money and just hanging out, wanting to talk to me, wanting to be my friend because we've been friends forever. And
Yeah.
that's all it took. Eventually, I said, okay, I'll take some.
Yeah.
And then I was hooked again. So I just have to avoid that. But it's pretty easy to avoid, but it's also difficult. It can just happen by chance. You can just run into somebody at the grocery store.
And it's a daily choice, right? I mean, it's
Yeah.
And it's almost like if you're just kind of blindsided by it, it's hard to like prepare yourself.
Right.
Say no to that.
Right.
Do you ever
Well,
have
and
like, do you ever have like a moment where you're like, I have to play pickleball right now, or I might do something bad?
I have one friend. I haven't seen him for a long time, but we've connected on that. He had a brother die in the military, and so we connected on with pickleball, my recovery, and then he's basically in mourning, in recovery from the loss of his brother, right? And then we connected on other things personally, and there's times where he and I would go play at Brett Reeder's in the middle of the night. Brett Reeder has 2 indoor courts here in Brigham, and everybody knows about it, and you pay $5 to go play there.
That's awesome.
Anyways, we would go. We've been played at midnight, 1 in the morning, many times, just he and I.
That's awesome.
That's so.
I wish I lived near you. I'd love to do that with you sometime.
Yeah.
I'd love to play in the middle of the night. Sometimes I don't sleep either. Nothing better to do than play pickleball. So that's awesome.
Yeah.
It's really cool.
So we're gonna title this your full name with Kacey Ayotte. So what I would love our listeners to do is to find you on Facebook, because it's your name on Facebook, right?
Yeah.
I would love it if people would just encourage you, just reach out to you and either a message or like on your wall or something. So somebody needs to do that.
Yep. Absolutely. Yeah. You really, awesome. I love your vulnerability and, sharing with us your story. It is inspiring. I mean, it's, you've been through a lot, but the fact that you're willing to talk about it and share, and hopefully, if there's people out there that are struggling with substance abuse, that they know that there's, a better side, there's hope, and there's pickleball can be a part of it. Right.
Yeah. Well, I feel like this is my responsibility. I owe society this. I have 3 DUIs. I've hurt the public in many ways. And so I feel like it's my job to help anyone I can get the word out that recovery is possible. As dark as it can get, it can get better. It doesn't seem like it sometimes, but it can get better. Yeah. So I feel like this is my job, to give back as much as I can, be available as much as I can within reason, because I'm a very selfish person inherently, and I have a beautiful, amazing family. So I have my own stuff, but I want to help as much as I can too. And I just want everybody to know this. It's not the end. You can turn things around dramatically.
Yeah, I think you've said this before to us, even off camera, but it's worth noting. Your wife sounds like an amazing lady who's stuck through some pretty tough stuff, and I think you've said you credit her with everything that you've been through.
The only credit I take is choosing her, because I knew she was going to be amazing when I met her, and so I take credit for being smart enough to latch onto that.
Yeah,
but everything
lock
else
it down.
is her.
Yep, way to go. Good job. So you're good at choosing partners, huh?
Yeah.
On the pickleball court or in life. Love it.
Well, I love that, because I've had been through some of my own pain. I mean, we have with some infertility stuff, but you know, if you can't use your pain for a purpose, you know, then it's pointless, and you don't want that to be pointless.
Right.
You know, you
Right.
want there to be a purpose to your pain. And so I love that you have embraced that, you know, and you're telling your story. I think you're going to encourage a lot of people.
Really cool.
My favorite quote, my favorite lyrics right now is a guy named Kai Straw, and what you were just saying, one of his songs is "Don't show them your pain, show them who it made you."
Mm,
That's great.
mhm.
Love that line.
Yeah, because we're all a product of some pain. I mean,
Yeah,
nobody's
Yeah.
had it easy.
No,
right.
sure.
Yeah.
And being, like I've said, vulnerable and open to sharing that is awesome. So great job. We're going to take a quick commercial break, but then we want to come back and we want to wrap it up. And we usually like to play a quick little game with our guests as well. So if you're up for that,
Cool.
we'll do that.
Yeah.
We'll wrap things up. So we'll be right back after this.
Come join the fun at pickleballrocks.com, your trusted authority when it comes to all your pickleball needs. Apparel, paddles, bags, hats, you name it, you'll find it there. Family owned and operated for nearly 15 years.
Matt and I are growth pros for Pickleball Rocks, and for being a loyal listener of the One More Game podcast, we can offer you a 15% discount at checkout when you use the code MATB15. So head over to pickleballrocks.com and check it out. Let's play.
All right, welcome back to One More Game presented by Hoosier Pickleball. It's been a great conversation with Kacey, and we're so thrilled that he was on. Again, with us talking about substance abuse and his journey through all of that, his road to recovery and relapse and his continued struggles, but really doing well. So Kacey, it's awesome. We said it before and say it again. If there's anybody out there who is struggling, please reach out to Abby or I on Facebook. We'll link Kacey on there as well on his Facebook page. But even if this podcast made the difference in one person's lives and got them on the road to recovery, that would be amazing. So thanks again, Kacey. This has been a lot of fun. So are you ready to end with a game? A little
Sure.
game. All right. So there was one question that now I'm kind of embarrassed to ask this, but through your, recovery, do you stay away from alcohol now as well? Like, is that kind of part, or are you able to kind of put the right parameters in place where you can have a beer here and there?
I tried to prove that I could,
Yeah.
and
No.
no.
Yeah.
I'm better off just not having one drink, because
Yeah.
after you have one drink, then that feels good. So then let's
Yeah.
have another drink, because this is going to wear off. So I
Right.
need to have another drink before this wears off. But it's physically impossible for me to drink in a controlled way.
Yeah.
I'm not totally against alcohol, but at the same time, it doesn't make any sense for me to be messing with it. It's very dangerous when you're drunk. Oh, I did say I had 3 DUIs. Those were all on prescriptions. I wasn't drinking, but I've never had a real problem with alcohol.
Yeah.
But I mean, I can't drink.
Right.
Right. But how wise of you to recognize that about yourself.
Yeah, absolutely.
And-
Oh, I had to learn 100 times. I'm not that wise.
Yeah.
Eventually you
Yeah.
are.
So
Maybe.
the game that we play is called Rapid Fire, and I'll scratch the question that was beer or bourbon then. So that was just off the table. So we'll start though. We'll start with a pickleball one. So driving or dinking, if you had to choose one.
I'm definitely a soft game dinker
Nice.
over driving. Yeah, driving. I just never know where it's going when I'm driving it.
Coke or Pepsi?
Pepsi, cherry Pepsi.
Cherry Pepsi. Okay.
Ew.
Ew. I can't say ew to that answer.
Sorry, I mean.
ew to your Diet Coke.
Yeah.
Beer or bourbon? I said, oh.
Never.
It would be bourbon.
Okay.
I drank beer when I was like 15, and I drank way too much beer, and I got sick. So my whole life I would only drink hard alcohol. I never drank beer.
Okay.
Sorry. Like Ron Burgundy, I just read what's on the script. Left side or right side?
Well, I like my backhand, and most people want to be on the left side because they like their forehand. So I like right side, but I
Nice.
also I also like with Josh. Josh taught me that you basically play straight up all the time, and then you save stacking for when you need a better third shot, or you're trying to
mix
change
it
your
up.
intention.
Yeah.
Yeah, trying to change the focus. So yeah, we'd stack on purpose just randomly.
Yeah, I like that. Jordan or LeBron? Or you're from Utah, maybe it's Stockton and Malone. Do I have to say that?
Stockton and Malone.
Yeah. No, I would say Jordan for sure.
Okay.
After the sweeping of the
Oh, yeah.
Lakers, oh my word, dude.
Yeah, I'm with you. Did you watch the game 6 of the Heat Celtics?
Last night?
Yeah,
Yeah,
that was
that
nuts.
was insane.
Yeah. My daughter's become a big Heat fan, so I was kind of heartbroken
Oh,
for her.
yeah.
That was crazy.
I was proud of Jimmy Butler. He made all 3 free throws. I
know.
was like, that's how you do it.
Yeah.
But then it didn't matter.
That was an all-time game for sure.
Yeah, yeah.
All right, how about pizza? Chicago style or New York style? Or is
Well,
there?
I spent a couple years near Chicago, so I would say Chicago style.
Okay, good. I agree with that one. Mixed or men's?
Well, they're 2 different games, 2 different strategies, 2 different pleasures. I really do enjoy being the hero on a point where the woman just dinks and dinks and dinks and dinks, and then I get one. I just have to hit one ball, and
you
I'm
step
the
in.
hero.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool. But men's I appreciate because I like to just throw the ball up in between them over their head, kind of.
Yeah.
And if I do that to my mixed partner, she's going to get a bloody nose.
Right.
I do that to my men's partner. It's okay if he gets a bloody nose.
Right. You're not feeling so bad. I do remember that the first time you beat us at nationals, your like low speed ups were just killing us. And I don't know if like we weren't getting out of the way of them, or I feel like a few of them were finding like the back line. And that was like your shot that I was like, this dude cannot miss those shots. So that was
I love it when I have to fully extend for my backhand because it goes at a good height, and I can just hit it pretty much as hard as I want.
Yeah.
I just did it on accident one time and just kept doing it after that.
Yeah, I like the happy accident.
Yeah.
Let's see. I know this one's getting outdated, but it's relevant because when we played against him, I was able to.
That's true.
So spin serve or ban it. Were you a fan of banning of the spin serve?
Ban the spin serve. Yeah.
Do you remember my spin serve?
Oh yeah. You got a spin serve when whoever was up was trying to call it. So if Josh was up, he would turn around and say left or right. If we could see it, we'd call it for our partner.
So you were saying it wasn't that effective then? Yeah.
Well, I just didn't like that you got an advantage at all off your serve because we're serving it underhand. So I come from thinking like it's just supposed to start the game.
Right.
But now even with the drop serve, you can hit that ball pretty hard. You can hit an aggressive serve underhand.
Yeah, I do miss it, but I definitely understand why it was taken away. Okay, that's the last time I will ask a guest that question.
Thank you.
Hat or headband? What are you doing?
I gotta have a hat for the sun.
Yeah. Okay, I agree. Okay, you win the toss. Are you taking serve or choosing which end?
Yeah, the end. I gotta play the wind and the sun.
Yeah. Do you like to serve first if you have the choice, or do you like to have the one stop and get the serve back so you have you and your partner serving?
I'd like to get an early start.
Okay.
If the sun and the wind are not a factor, I'll take the serve for sure.
Take the serve and try to score a few points, get those points going first. All right. All right. How about burgers? In-N-Out or what? Whataburger? I don't know what I think that's more like Texas area. What burger?
Yeah, we have In-N-Out in Utah, and we have Culver's.
Culver's. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, Culver's. I love Culver's.
It's better.
Which one would you choose between those two?
Culver's.
No, really? See, we have Culver's all over here. I would trade all of our Culver's for one In-N-Out that's an hour away, and I would still go there weekly.
Oh, you guys don't have In-N-Out?
No.
Okay. Well, once you get it, you'll realize, okay, it's good enough.
I don't know. The last time we went to a tournament that had In-N-Out.
Nationals.
Was it Nationals? Yeah. Yeah, there's
He
an
had
In and Out.
13.
He had 13. At
13
patties.
burgers
He had 13 patties.
Patties.
But
in
sometimes
one
they
sitting.
went-
I think we went 5 times in the 5 days that we were there.
Uh-huh.
So we-
Okay.
yeah. And listen, you were not much better.
I'm not judging.
All right. You had just as many. So
Do you remember Big Mac Mondays? Do you remember that?
No.
Big Macs were $1. You guys
Oh.
ever had Big Mac Mondays?
no,
Maybe
Well,
not in the
when I was
Midwest.
no, I do
when,
not remember.
when I was a kid, my uncle would get 5 Big Macs and eat them all.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Whoa,
I think
Yeah.
on my hungriest days, I couldn't
that's
do that.
amazing.
That's
Yeah.
incredible. No, yeah. I could use a Big Mac during a part like we were talking earlier, during a long tournament. I think
Yeah.
a Big Mac might be a good idea.
You would puke.
Yeah.
I probably would. Right. All right, last one. What's more satisfying, a body bag or an ATP?
It depends on who I'm playing. Because I don't like hitting people. I hit people all the time, but I don't do it on purpose. I'm trying to get it down,
Right.
on the court. So ATP, I would feel way better about an ATP than
Yeah.
a body bag. I always apologize when I hit someone, and I hit people all the time, but I genuinely don't mean to do it. I'm not trying to hurt anybody out here.
Right. I think you got me a couple times. I do. Like,
You get-
Yeah.
Matt gets body bagged all the time. I
Yeah.
body bagged you this morning like 3 times.
Well,
it's going like
I think
5
he
miles.
wanted to dodge it, but it was going. He didn't.
Like,
He couldn't get out of the way of it.
like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
My problem is I don't have my paddle here. I'm
Mhm.
oftentimes trying to anticipate my forehand and I'm sliding. And then so
Mhm.
that's the trick. Anybody watching, just hit it as I'm probably going to slide to my left and you can body bag.
nail him in the chest.
I need to get better.
Yeah.
All right. Hey, Kacey, this was awesome, man. You're such a great dude. And we love your story. We love your just vulnerability. So thanks again for joining us. And seriously, the invitation is wide open. If you guys are ever out in this side of the world, come
Oh yeah.
hang out and we'll play some pickle. And you have a tournament tomorrow, you said, right?
Yeah, the Memorial here in Brigham City. It's a big tournament here, and it's only like $40, and it's the guy that runs it is a legend for pickleball. He got the courts here locally. His house is right next to the pickleball courts. He's an amazing person. His name is Kyle Klein, but he has a lot of help, a lot of loyal friends that help run this thing, and he's been doing it for 12 years, at least 10 years. I should know, but I don't.
Yeah.
It's an amazing tournament. Last year we had Callie Smith playing in it,
Mhm.
and I
So
know
cool.
Tyler Wren was here yesterday. So I don't know if you know Tyler Wren, but he's a pro.
Yeah.
And there's lots of like Chuck Taylor was here last year. Anyways, it's a big deal for us in Utah, and it's right here in my town, so it's cool.
Dude, that's awesome. Yeah. Well, good luck. Keep
Yeah.
us posted.
Let us
We'll
know.
post your results, and when you send us a picture of you on the gold medal stand, we'll put it along with the podcast.
It's a good idea.
I hope so.
Yeah.
It's a tough division, tough group,
What
but
are
me
you
and PJ
playing?
are excited. We're playing 4-5 in the 35 plus.
Nice.
There's a bunch of people that have always beat me in there. And
Yeah.
we'll see.
All
You
right.
got this.
You got it.
You got
Yep.
it. You can do it.
Yep. Get a good night's sleep. Get plenty of nutrition. Make sure you're eating well, so you don't run out of energy.
Yeah.
So, hey, thanks again, man, and thanks to our listeners for tuning in once again. And we will be back next week with another episode. Until then, have a great week.
Awesome. Thank you.
As always, we want to thank our sponsors, Hoosier Pickleball, Indiana Physical Therapy, and Pickleball Rocks. In addition, a big thank you to our production company, Coraggio Media, and the 95.7 WELT studio in beautiful downtown Fort Wayne. Please make sure to subscribe wherever you get your podcasts, or find us on YouTube at One More Game Pod. That's the number 1 More Game Pod. Hit that subscribe button and be sure to leave us a 5-star rating to help us spread the word. You can also find us on Facebook and TikTok at Hoosier Pickleball for all kinds of fun, tips, tricks, and other family nonsense, and also some great discussion. Thanks for listening, and we will see you next week.